The new Arceuus Spellbook rework was recently released, and with it came thrall spells. The best of these, Greater Resurrect, requires 76 magic, along with the Book of the Dead in your inventory to cast. This is what the kharedst memoir turns into at the end of a Kingdom Divided quest. The spell costs 2k to cast. It's 5 blood runes, 10 fire runes, and 1 cosmic rune, as well as 6 prayer points. This costs twice as much as Venge, but because you would cast Venge twice in the time your thrall lives, this makes it roughly the same cost. This summons a helper minion in the combat style of your choice that attacks every 4 ticks with a max hit of 3, ignoring accuracy checks. These last a tick for every mage level you have, which is a full 60 seconds at 99 magic. I've seen a lot of people complain about the max hit of 3 on these, but the fact it ignores accuracy checks and is basically free damage, unlike Venge where you're tanking damage in order to proc it, is really good. Thralls will continue attacking after you have stopped attacking a target after a few attacks. This means that they can continue to attack during boss downtime. For example, when you're walking under Kalphite Queen. Thralls can also continue to hit directly through many bosses' invulnerability phases, like Verzik's Energy Shield on P2, or often during boss transitions. How is a Thrall's DPS versus Vengeance? Your Thrall rolls randomly from 0 to 3 damage, making its average damage 1.5 per hit, which completely ignores defense. Your Thrall will attack 24 times at 99 magic, making its average damage over its life 37.125. Let's just round that down to 37 for convenience. In the time it takes your Venge to cooldown to end, your Thrall on average will have dealt 18 to 19 damage. For Vengeance to beat this DPS on average, the monster you're fighting's max hit needs to be 50 or higher, as the monster's roll is a random number after defense check from 1 to max hit. Venge recoils 75% of damage, so with an average hit on you of 25, you will Venge 18, the breaking point of Thralls and Venge. And that's assuming you have literally no armor on, so that is even a little bit worse than what I'm saying. This isn't entirely fair to Vengeance though, as you can often pre-Venge a boss, getting multiple Venges off in a row. A great example of this is Kalphite Queen, where Vengeance is at its absolute best. An average Queen kill is about 60 seconds with Scythe, so you get 2 Venges at the start, plus 1 extra Venge on second phase on average. KQ's max hit is 31, so the average Venge deals from 11 to 12 damage. Rounding up for Venge's best case average is a total average damage of 36 over the whole kill, which again is still just slightly behind Thrall's average damage, even with the extra Venge you get at the beginning. Too long, didn't listen, don't like math, my brain hurts. Thralls are almost always better than Venge on average. And considering these work on recoil immune monsters where Venge doesn't work anyways, Verzik P1, P2, Bloat, Zarpus, Olm, etc., these are free damage anywhere you don't need Alex or Potshare. Does the style of the Thrall matter when you summon it? Because the zombie is melee based, I've found it often wastes ticks walking around, so typically you want to avoid summoning that variant. The skeleton and ghost are the exact same, with a range of 6 tiles. Anywhere a monster is not completely invulnerable to a combat style, the style does not matter. Think places like Dagannoth Kings or Kalphite Queen. These have very high defense to styles and not invulnerability, so both the skeleton and ghost are the exact same and put out full damage through all phases and all monsters. At Callisto, for example, the Mage Thrall does no damage, as he is completely invulnerable to magic. Many bosses and chambers have flat damage reduction to a style. Olm's hands and head each have a 50% damage reduction against the wrong style, so this needs to be kept in mind. Where should you be using Thralls, and is there any reason not to use them? Anywhere you do not need Alex, or can get away with an Explorer's Ring, Sarah would be one of these, or need lunar utility spells like Potshare, the Arceuus Spellbook for Thralls is now the absolute best option. I won't even begin listing all the bosses this is best at because I would list almost every single boss. How do Thralls perform in chambers? They're really good. They're free damage in almost every room. The only monsters they do not work on in chambers are Guardians and Vespula due to them not being able to reach the portal. Thralls are extremely beneficial for Olm and solos, as when you are attacking either of the hands in Splash, if the Thrall hits the hand, Olm will still not turn towards the middle. This means you now have an extremely low chance of Olm turning towards the middle with a Thrall active. Vasa is one of the only bosses in the game where Vengeance is significantly better than Thralls, but if it's the first room, you can actually just pre-Venge before entering the raid and still enter with Thralls to get the best of both worlds. Thralls also shine at Tekton with his very high defense and the Thrall's ability to continue hitting Tekton as he walks towards the anvil. They might be able to hit him when he's at the anvil like with KQ's phase transition as well, but I didn't manage to get this to happen. There are rooms where they are not as good. Ice Demon's 66% damage reduction does apply to Thralls, unfortunately, for example. So their max hit is 1, and they only hit that 1 out of 4 hits. I found Thralls were unable to damage Vasa crystals, but they could damage Vasa himself. The crystals could just be immune to anything but melee, but I haven't tested it. Thrall style is very important when attacking Olm, as the wrong style Thrall's max hit is reduced to 1 on Olm. So you need to use Mage on the Mage hand, Zombie on the melee hand, and Skeleton on the head phase. How about at the Theater of Blood? The 4th and 5th member of your team can take Thralls for free, as you only need 2 mages. It might even be worth having one person freeze all now, and the other mage even taking Thralls. And one person with pot share. This makes a new role, Melee Thraller. Like before, it is free damage in every room. There's a lot of discussion right now about meta change of also having other members of the team bring the runes for Spellbook swap and Thrall spells, although this wastes a giant section of your inventory. Thralls work as expected at every boss. At Bloat, their damage is halved while he is walking. In Nilokus room, they can only damage the style Nilo they are related to, but they will not reflect damage back at you or lock you out of any Nilokus. If you happen to lock yourself out of a Nilo, a Thrall can actually still attack it anyways, which can come in handy. On Nilo boss, they will only damage the boss on his correct style, but do not heal or reflect damage back for the wrong style. These especially shine at all of Verzik's phases, as she has high defense that cannot be drained. But especially phase 1, where your damage is capped at 10, and P2, where they can damage her through her energy shield. What are Thrall's standout use? Anywhere where a boss has extremely high defense that cannot be drained, these are exceptional. Nightmare and Callisto are both great examples of these. Callisto is the highest DPS increase of any boss at roughly 20% increase in DPS just from Thralls, just because he has such insane defense. At Nightmare, not only are they a huge DPS increase through the entire fight, the Magic Thrall deals double damage to pillars. These actually make Harm Staff not worth using at regular Nightmare due to having to choose one or the other. In the new Phosani's Nightmare, because Nightmare has much lower health per phase, and there are more phases with pillars, Harm Staff actually is just barely better than Thralls. You'll get a few seconds faster kills according to the Gear Discord. But considering the cost barrier and benefit of using a Saying at Nightmare, Thralls are still very useful at Phosani's. I also tested these guys at a lot of Slayer bosses I've been grinding. They work perfectly at Dagannoth Kings. The Thralls can damage any king you are attacking. And with Saying and SGS, you don't need the healing from Blood Barrage. The standout Slayer boss for these is Kalphite Queen, where they continue attacking when you go under her, and they can even continue attacking her during her phase transition in some cases. And like I said earlier, she doesn't have real prayers, only defense. So Thralls can hit both phases the exact same. At Cerberus, these work as you would expect. They just give you free damage. At Grotesque Guardians, these are again just free damage, but extra damage really helps you hit that heal skip on Dawn a lot more often. Although the time spent alching through the Explorer's Ring menu might waste the time they save. Need some more testing. I also gave these a shot at Sarah. These do have a bit of downtime as they lag behind Sarah, but once they reach the center of the room, they barely waste ticks anymore. They'll hit her twice on each side. Sarah has really high defense, so these are really helpful here. And the Thrall also helps you clean up the minions after the kill. The Explorer's Ring is enough alchs for however long your trip is, and also benefits you by giving run restoration if you need it. There's a collection of places I found these do no damage for some reason. At Kraken, no Thralls do any damage, not even the Magic Thrall. This definitely seems like a bug that hopefully gets patched. They also don't work on Vespula, as they cannot reach her, nor Vasa's crystals, as they do no damage for some reason. These are pretty terrible for Inferno as well, since they use up your prayer points, and you really want to be on Ancients in there. But they should be able to hit even Zuck, so there is some meme potential at least. Basically, Thralls are incredibly good. These have replaced Vengeance where that was useful, and are now the go-to literally everywhere. I think we will see Blood Runes continue to rise, as these see greater use by the player base. That's it for the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and or subscribe. Thanks guys.